Okay, so we have our Starry Night that we finished, and we have our Cardinal that we finished. And now I'm going to cut out all of this for the Cardinal and glue it onto the Starry Night. So remember, any parts you don't want to keep, like this was an example where I kind of messed up, I can cut that off. And I need to be careful for places that are really skinny lines, because that could be a place where it could end up kind of falling apart, or that could be a place where I could just get it so thin that it won't stay together anymore. Okay, so I am just going to cut along the edges of my branches here first. Remember, when you're cutting, it's always easier to cut straight ahead of you. So I do a lot of turning my paper so that I don't have to curve my hand around when I'm cutting. And I do a lot of snipping, just kind of with the tip of the scissors in these small parts. I'm going to move that. Okay, and anytime you see a little white space, you want to try to get that off, because that will really stand out against our Starry Night. So try to get off as much of the white as you can. Or you could fill it in with brown crayon. Now I'm going to cut in here. I think it'll be a little easier for me to get around that way. It is some tricky cutting, but we can only get better at cutting if we do the hard stuff. So this little mohawk is a place where I would snip using just the tip of my scissors. Go slow so you don't accidentally cut any parts off. If you do, we'll just have to glue it back on when we put it on the Starry Night paper. Now right in here, if you left some space here between the belly and the branch with the feet kind of coming down, do not cut that off. It will make skinny parts here. So I'm going to stop where my feet are, and then I'm just going to turn and go the other way. Okay, so that was some challenging cutting, but I got it all done, and now I get to see how it will look on top of my Starry Night, and I love it. So at this point, you might want to just look and make sure that there aren't any extra parts you want to cut off. I see this little white spot right here, so I'm going to just kind of snip that off. Since I was cutting from the same size paper, it fits on really, really well. So my next step is going to be the gluing, which will also be tricky. Okay, so since we have so many tiny spots to glue on, I'm going to give you guys a little container of glue and a Q-tip. And this will make it a little bit easier. So what I want you to do is move your paper out of the way for the time being, flip this over, and then since all of this is smaller, we don't want to mess up our Starry Night by putting glue all over it. So I'm just going to use this, and I'm going to just rub that glue in, try to get it on the edges, try not to get it on your table because that really does stick and make a mess, and it makes it very hard to get off. So the great thing about the Q-tip is I have a nice small point so I can get into smaller spaces. Watch your sleeves so they don't get stuck in the glue. Okay. Now, I'm going to pick this up carefully, put my paper back down, making sure I have it turned the right way. I see my moon is where I want it, so it's turned the right way. And I'm laying this down, remembering where these branches were. They were all the way over here on the edge. I'm getting a little bit of glue on there, but that's okay. And then just kind of go around and stick each piece down. Since we have paper that's been colored on and painted on, it can make it harder to stick. So you have to take some time to really push it down and make sure that it stays. Otherwise, it will be pulling up constantly. Okay, now I'm looking and I see that some of the edges, I don't know how, maybe my paper stretched. Somehow I ended up with edges going off of the paper. So I'm going to take my scissors and just snip those off really carefully. I'm staying in line with the side of my paper and snipping. Okay, there's a little one here. All right, so now just making sure I've got it stuck down really well. And I love that. That looks great, and I know yours will too. So that's it for now.